Hi, this is my 10 Little Indians, the search engine video. I have not read a book in at least a good 4 or 5 years that I'm actually interested in, that I actually am eager to read more. And for the first time in a long, long time, this book actually kind of captured my attention. Like, I actually want to read more. I'm gonna read more. I really like this book. It's really interesting. So, to summarize, this book is about a young 19-year-old indigenous woman who was at her college library and accidentally stumbled upon a book by a poet author named Harlan Atwater. This book meant so much to the main character. Her name is Corliss. It meant so much to her because it actually spoke about her roots and it talked about the Spokane Reservation. Now, Corliss had never met a poet or anyone like that was also part of her tribe, part of her culture, her ethnicity. So this really spoke to her, especially because she absolutely loves poems, poetry, and books. She's fascinated by all these mostly white authors and poets, but she's never really found someone that she can connect to on a personal level. And the fact that this book kind of just fell on her, she thought that it meant something, that she was destined to contact this person. And so she was just on a mission. She was on a mission to find him. She got the idea from her mom, who told her, why don't you look her up? Why don't you look this author up on a search engine? After 2 weeks of looking for this guy, Corliss finally finds this guy's information. She gives him a call. The guy is very reluctant, very just like, ugh, kid, just continue with your college and please don't ever contact me again. He hangs up on her and Corliss is like, nah, I gotta go find this dude. So she literally takes a Greyhound bus all the way to Seattle, Washington. She meets this homeless man along the way who helps guide her to his address. She finally finds his house that's next to a McDonald's, and then bam, they meet. And Corliss is immediately disappointed. She imagined this super young, slim, hero. And here we have a fat, old, indigenous man who just smells and is super old. So they start talking. Corliss kind of explains, hey, I thought you were going to be someone else. You did not meet my expectations. What the hell? What the hell, dude? So they finally agree to meet somewhere. They met at a used bookstore and they just kind of had a discussion. They sat in the back of the used bookstore on a couch and Harlan basically gave out his entire story, how the origin of his poetry book and how it even came about, and he kind of revealed to her, hey, I'm basically a fake Indian. Um my parents are white. I've been adopted. Um I met my mother and she turned out to be a crackhead, and I love my parents so much. And the biggest shocker at the end was when he kind of revealed that even though I saw my mom smoking crack, um, I was so happy to see that. I was so happy because I'm blessed and I feel like my two white parents saved my life. Corliss ends up being very confused and she was just like, what the hell? I came all this way, and I think she kind of left more confused than ever. She really didn't, she was confused. She needed more answers, and out of nowhere, Harlan just walks away, and that was basically it. That was the end of the search engine. So if we're comparing and contrasting the two main characters, both Corliss and Harlan, well, they're both indigenous, they're both from the same reservations, but they grew up different culturally. One was very, tied with her roots. very connected in a way, but at the same time not really, because everyone literally kind of just brushed off, everyone in her family brushed off her enjoyment for poetry and for reading. Corliss really was like the ugly duckling of her family. Her family just didn't get it. They didn't understand her. Versus Harlan, he didn't even know anyone from his indigenous roots. He didn't know anyone. He grew up with two white parents, so he really didn't, he didn't have that experience. And also, he grew up in the 70s versus Harlan obviously grew up in a more modern time. I'm guessing early 2000s, late 90s when this book was written, but I don't know. I don't know too much, but they grew up in different timestamps, so obviously there is a generation gap, and they're both poetry lovers. They're both book lovers, and that's one of the biggest things that they both share as humans and as people. So, what does it mean to be a lost soul? I think being a lost soul means that you haven't found your identity yet, that you still don't know who you are, you're still on the lookout for that, you're still on the search for it. And I believe in a way both of these characters haven't really found their true identity. One is obviously just getting started with her life. She's just 19, so obviously with youth comes growth, so she is naturally in a stage of she's still trying to find herself as a young adult. Versus Harlan, he is in his 60s, I believe. He is old, but at the same time he's lost because he has no connection with his roots. He doesn't really know anything about that. He wants to so bad, but he doesn't. And for that reason, he is, I believe, more lost. More lost than Corliss. Because Corliss is young. She's gonna learn. She has a lot of time to grow. She has an excuse for being a lost soul. She's young. Harlan, on the other hand, he is old. He's much older. He's had so many years to really find himself, and he is obviously still lost, but at the same time, I would say they're both equally lost. So the character that I think was changed the most by the end of the chapter was definitely Corliss. I mean, she came in looking for answers, and she left disappointed. And I think that served as a lesson to her that you can have all the high expectations you want. You can, get on that Greyhound and be in a bus ride for 8 hours only to be thoroughly disappointed by someone's story. I think she definitely learned so much from him, and she was touched by the story, but she was left still eager to learn more about this man. And at the end, I felt like now she just wants to know more, which I hope the book, I haven't read more, but I want to read more. I'm excited to see what happens in the next chapter. I need to know, but I definitely think she's gonna be in the search for something deeper. So I definitely think Corliss was changed the most by the end of the chapter. So I think this chapter is titled The Search Engine, obviously surface level because she searches all over the search engine to find Harlan. That's obviously one big reason. If you look more in depth, I think you can clearly find that Corliss is on the search. She's on the search for more. She's on the search for more information. She's eager as a young 19-year-old who loves poetry, who wants to know more about what it means to be a Spokane Indian. She is on the search, so I think definitely that relates to it all. Her self-search for more of her, again, more of that lost soul. She's a lost soul on the search. Think about it. Definitely think that this chapter title is well played, The Search Engine. So if I had to compare the struggle that Corliss faced on this chapter, I would say, I feel like a lot of people can relate to this. We've all had friendships, relationships where we don't give up on a person because we think that they're worth it. We give them a second chance, a third chance, a fourth chance, hoping that, we'd be happy with them. And then ultimately, you just kind of come to a breaking point and you just kind of end a relationship, whether it be with a lover or a friend. You give people more and more chances, and they just keep on proving you wrong, and they prove you wrong and wrong and wrong again. And I feel like a lot of us, we go through this. We go through this where we keep giving people more chances, and they keep giving us another reason to let them go. And to me, that's how I can relate to it. I know it's a very vague answer, but I mean, I feel like we all go through that. Other than that, I'm so sorry for making this video really long. I don't know how long it's gonna be yet, but I have a feeling this video is gonna be so long. So just thank you for watching it. And yeah, bye.